Oh, hi, you caught me looking at my third place major trophy, which means that everything I'm about to say in this video is 100% accurate, and you have to trust me. So, the purpose of this video is to teach people um, what to do when you're playing a map you're not confident in. And what I mean by that is generally most teams have a perma veto. So, for example, Navi, they're the best team in the world. Their perma veto is Vertigo. They're very rarely going to play Vertigo. Some teams perma veto, they will float occasionally. You've seen that with maybe FaZe playing Vertigo before in the finals. Generally, this is a bad idea. They're a very elite top tier 1 team, so it can work in those cases. But and it's more of a surprise. But for the most part, teams are going to have a perma veto. They're going to stick to it, and great teams like Navi are going to be good at all the other maps because they're the best team in the world. However, other teams, your team, my team, we might have a map that maybe we're not so confident on. It might be Anubis, it might be Inferno. It doesn't really matter what the map is. But what do you do in these situations where you're playing, you can't get the veto you want? So in a best of 3, if you have 2 maps you're not confident in, and the other team knows this, or their best map happens to be one you're not very confident in, it's going to be very problematic because it's almost always going to be an auto loss for you, right? So, for example, let's say you're going to play G2 and your worst map is Inferno. Well, that's their best map, so you're probably going to get screwed, right? So if you were going to go into this game, what would you do? Like, what would you do to try to even up those odds of almost guaranteed loss? And obviously it depends on how poor your map that you're not confident is, like how bad it actually is, or if it's just the fact that you haven't played it enough, you haven't got enough reps and strats. But either way, you got to kind of decide what you want to do. So first things you want to do is, are both sides bad or is only one side bad? So if you're good at CT or good at T, you just want to play your normal game on those sides and just play it straight up, and just focus more on what I'm about to say on the weaker side. Also, you want to factor in like the team you're playing. So if you're playing G2, you're going to 100% want to be playing some gambles and some things I'm going to go over. If you're playing a team that you're better than, so let's say you're G2 and you're playing your worst map. I don't even know what the worst map is off the top of my head, to be honest. Let's say you're G2 and you're playing, a team like Complexity. Complexity is good, but G2 probably thinks they're better, right? Let's say G2 is playing Complexity on Nuke. I know they're good at Nuke, but let's just say both teams are good at Nuke. Maybe G2 feels, okay, Complexity's Nuke's a little better than ours, right? In that case, with G2 being the better team, or in your case, your team, say you're ranked number 4 in advanced, and you're playing like the 30th best team, like, in my opinion, in that case, it might be better just to play your game and don't do anything random. Just use your experience and your skill and the fact that you're just like the superior team to win. I'm not telling anyone to try to go too far to their comfort zone in cases where you are very likely going to win the game anyways. However, this video is more for people and teams that are going to be playing in a game where you're very likely going to lose this game, right? And yeah, it sucks to say that. You might be, oh, Semphis. That's not the mindset you want to have. Dude, you got to be realistic, man. I played on Cloud9, TSM, Splice, Complexity, all these teams, in the past, and I played with very experienced players and very inexperienced players. I picked up Brax when he was 13 and 1.6. I picked up Twist and Sick when they were like 14 and 15, 16, So I played with all the different variables, and I'm just going to say that like my success rate on all teams when you're playing a map that your whole team is not very confident on, you don't have a high win rate on, versus a team that's better than you, is not that great. So my suggestion is, let's say your CT side is your bad side. Let's say your T side Inferno is pretty good. You guys are good at banana control. You're good at defaulting. You can take mid control. You can go hit A, B. You can wrap, whatever. You got all the basics down, right? Good. Okay, you're going to do T side normal. CT side, how bad is your CT side? So the gambles will depend on how poor it is. Are you getting an average of 2 rounds in scrims and matches on Inferno? You want to go a little bit more wild in that case. If you're getting like 4 or 5, that's like not terrible, honestly. But if your T side's not super supreme, you might want a little bit more. So like it's all like a personal thing. There's no like official statistics. Like if you're this team, you do this. Like you're gonna have to kind of decide for yourself. So going into it, my suggestion is to try to play more gambly and more for like to kind of not to frustrate the other team, but don't let the other team run everything they want to do. So if you're poor on Inferno and your Opper's over here, you know, he's op in the arch, you have a guy Pit, you know, on Balk or Sight, you have your 2 B players, and these teams are just taking top banana control, they're taking top mid, and they're just running you guys into the ground. You know, they're just like doing wrap strats, they win, they do lane strats, they win. They have all these crazy strats, right? So the team that's really strat heavy and they're very good at just like getting map control and then punishing you with it, my advice is to disrupt their strats, because a lot of teams, especially at a lower level, are not very good at adapting. So if you can even kill one player, like let's say this team is very strat heavy and they want to go up here, they're going to take mid control. From there, they're going to, you know, maybe do like a 2 wrap, 2 lane, 1 halls, just like a basic split. If you can kill one of them, that might be their smoke for library. That might be their smoke for arch. So now they don't have the right nades. That might be their molly. You know, it might be a molly for Pit. Just examples. I can't predict, you know, who you kill. So my suggestion is either gamble or take risks somewhere in the mid game. So if they're a team that's going to be doing a lot of mid control, banana control, you'll kind of get those timings. They're not just going to be halls popping you. They're not going to be just bursting in B. They're not going to be running up mid out of nowhere. They're going to give you cues that you can react to. So you have 2 options here. You can let them do their stuff and then re-clear the area. So, you know, for example, I mean, an easy example would just be like, you know, you bring 3 towards B, they're doing B control, you know, you get a pop flash, you clear this out, no one's here, cool. You leave one guy B and you rotate everyone towards A. You're kind of going off timings and stuff like that. Another option would be like, you know, you're playing around lane and arch. They're going to be smoking, you know, this. Maybe you have one of your teammates hide cubby. Maybe you have another rifler here. And as they do this, you'll have a guy at lane as well, you know, kind of just waiting. Maybe he's just peeking, jiggling. I'm just making shit up right now, by the way. And, like, on a timing, you're just going to, like, nade the smoke. And you guys are literally just going to fight them. Like, you just straight up just fight them, dude. Like, just make them be like, why are they peeking? Like, what are they doing? Like, make them frustrated, you know? Like, you think you have a timing. Like, lane player, you hear a guy falling back. Just walk after him. You know, take risks. You know, like, and I understand people watching this and be like, dude, this is terrible advice. Why are you telling people just play like morons? You're going to lose. Okay? We're running under the assumption that you're going to lose the game, right? So all of these are like calculated risks. So, you know, another thing is like, let's say you can't stop their mid control. Like every time they take mid, they run you over at A. None of your double arch, double lane setups are working. You know, you just put a dude here, have his head turn. Put a dude up here, put his head turn. Have your opper or rifler kind of just like prodding around here with another guy that can like kind of flash and help you guys from pit and leave 1B. Now, you could also, you know, potentially set up an opper B, you know, the start of the round, you know, you throw your whole B shenanigans. Rifler comes over here, kind of clears out the half wall, leaves, you leave the opper, your opper can just sit towards banana, you know, at the half wall, whatever, and you can play 4A. So, yeah, and on the flip side, you can also do other stuff too, where you just like play passive and like let them do their stuff. But my main point is you want to disrupt them, and there's a bunch of different ways you can do. I'm not showing you guys like legitimate actual setups because like I'd have to do like another video to specifically go over exactly what to do, because I mean a lot of this stuff is just kind of like freeballing it. But another thing, you know, just off timings, you know, like if you're playing, let's say you want to. Another thing you can do is, you know, you play 3B. You know, you play maybe one spawn, one emo pillar, one new box, or first orange, and you just like kind of stack the site, and you hope that when they come B, you have heavy B presence. You know, once these guys make contact, this guy can come through the smoke, and you just kind of you play aggressive. You don't play scared. This guy doesn't play, oh no, I got smoked out and run away. No, you play to fight. You play to fight and die. Like you have to be confident if you're playing more gambly and more like skill based. Now, while you guys are stacked B, you're going to be 2A. So like one thing you guys can do is, whether it's your opper, whether it's the rifler, it doesn't really matter. You know, you can have a guy, you know, kind of like just sitting in a spot like this, you know, kind of just like waiting for a guy to walk up arch. Generally, one of my advices is to always leave the rat player with a molly. and leave the pit player with a smoke. If there's 2A, that means if they go up lane, you can delay them. You can delay them lane. You can delay them wrap, and the pit player can safely, smoke the molly and play around there. It just gives you more time to delay, so your teammates can actually rotate and slow them down a bit. That's always been a good protocol to have. Now, what you can do here is, like, let's say you have one of your players on the Belk at the start, at like maybe 50, 45, just depending what you hear, right? Your B player should be feeding you some sort of info. No sound B, whatever. Or we hear a couple car. Okay, cool. There's a couple car. There's 40 seconds left. Yo, pop flash me hulls. Boom, flash comes in. Push it. Just push. Just push all the way through. As that's happening, this guy, he can kind of come up towards mid. That guy's peeking. You just kind of clear this. Toss a little jiggle, no one mid, run towards B. Like, it's super gambly, it's super risky. I'm not saying this is the way that you should play. I don't want people in the comments to be like, Semphis, what are you know what I mean? Like, this is like very specifically to try to upset teams that are better than you on the map, right? So, same thing with T side. And another thing is on CT, if you want to get wild, if you want to get wild and just like, fucking rush into ult with some nades from your teammates. You want to, MP9 push down B. Get wild, dude. Piss these people off. You know what I mean? Like make it just frustrating for the other team, because you guys know what it's like to play versus a moron in a pug. It's really annoying. You know that guy where you're like, you come in here and you get blind, you turn, and all of a sudden there's just a dude with an MP9 like, and like you're just like, fucking idiot. Like, it's just frustrating, right? So, another thing you can do is just like little plays on CT. Whether you got a flash, that's good. But what I really like is like around 45 seconds, 50, 45 seconds, under a minute generally. You kind of come here and you just swing. Two of you just swing. And you just come here and you just sit like this. One guy right here. One guy right here holding the same angle. Because most people that are coming back towards B to hit the site at like less than 50 seconds are not pop flashing the corner anymore. Like that's just like too big of a tell. So most people are just going to kind of jiggle and walk past, and this setup's like really strong. Because this guy, he can get a kill, he can fall back, he can throw a nade, smoke, molly, whatever. And he also has a good chance to repeak. Like you're usually going to go 1-for-1 at the worst in this setup, from what I've seen. And this top guy can really just do work. Sometimes the bottom guy gets murked, but usually this guy can go like 1, 2, and then die or get 3 and save the round. Now, T side is a little just like kind of dependent on your team, but like if you and I've ran in this issue as well with past Nouns lineups where our banana control, we're just like, we're okay, our mid control's okay, but we died a lot on the re-clears, like we'd smoke wrap, we'd molly over here, we'd throw the flashes, we'd come up, clear this spot, clear this top, right? We'd get in these positions, but like after those would fade, we'd play teams like M80 and stuff, and they would just kind of like come, sometimes they'd flash, sometimes they wouldn't. The Opera would peek, get a kill, the Riflers would peek, people would spam us through smokes, and it just felt like we didn't really have a good way to like do anything after the map control. Like we could get mid, we could get top B, but we'd always die in like rotations back to sites. We'd get picked off, people would flash clear us, and it just felt very frustrating. It felt like we were just like one step behind on a lot of people. So in those cases, obviously in scrims you want to work on it, right? Like you want to be like, okay, what happened? Like why did we die on the wrap re-clear? Like, oh, I was holding this, I got opt. Okay, maybe don't hold it, or maybe hold it from a different, I'm just, whatever. Like maybe you want to come up with fixes as to why you're dying, right? That's the whole point of practice. Now, when you're playing this and like your banana control and your mid control, they're not very like, not very set, or they're not very consistent at least. What you can do is just try to gimmick them, right? So like, what do I mean by gimmick, right? So what I mean is like, you kind of come up towards, have one guy come ult, do some spams, right? Everyone else come banana. Throw a molly car. Cool, they're not taking banana control. Awesome. You guys just walk up, No flash over the wall. You just peek this, walk up, and over this, you're going to have to like have someone that knows nades. As you guys are up, you flash first. You throw God Flash first. And then you have him smoke backhaul. And you have the third guy smoke spawn on the run. And this is just like a makeshift. I could do an actual video on these. If you guys want me to do an actual video on these gambly strats and setups, I can, because obviously I know what I'm doing right here is very poor and I'm not showing you exact ways. But the whole point of it is you're walking up and on a timing, that flash is coming over and you're literally just running in before the smokes even pop, and you're just YOLOing in. Like, you're just completely like maniac pug level type of plays, just trying to hit timings, right? Just trying to hope that like, you're just trying to basically hope that some guy's like, I don't hear anything, banana. All right. Oh, boom, gets hit by a flash and he just dies, right? Like, that's happened to you guys, right? So doing things like that. Other options are, you molly top B, throw some nades, throw some spams if they're, smoke at the bottom. Everyone else come halls. 3 guys go halls. 1 guy just spams to make it sound like a default. And you guys just literally walk up. And as they're about to enter halls, you smoke moto. And flash over halls from mid for them, and basically these 3 guys just come out and just YOLO into the out of halls, right? Like, obviously you want to have your... Just because I'm saying to gamble doesn't mean you can't go in a server before the match and quickly go over things, right? So what you want to make sure is if 3 guys are going at halls, the first guy knows, I'm going to come out, look sight, then I'm going to run here, I'm going to drop down, I'm going to clear this, or you want to be like, yo, first guy just hard clear this, don't even look sight. Second guy is going to come out looking like this, then he's going to drop and he's going to come like this, hold this, and then third guy, is going to kind of come up and just clean up. Usually the third guy kind of just stays around here and battles a bit. Anyways, like I said, I'm not here to show you guys exactly what to do. I'm just trying to give you ideas of things that you can do to kind of like to try to like kind of get rounds that maybe you wouldn't have got. So another example would be like this strat actually worked really well on when we had Cynic rip, and basically it was just like a burst lane strat where like when there's just an op that's sitting here, like if their opper plays here a lot and they play like 1 lane, 1 halls, like you can even win this round with Mac 10s. It's like you just kind of come here, just throw like, it doesn't even have to be good smoke. Well, I mean, honestly, that works, but you do that. While that happens, this guy just throws like a flash. Oh, I'm doing a terrible job. And you literally just YOLO into sight. Like, literally, first guy just jumps in here, just rushes. Obviously, you want to have some flashes, so, like, while you're running up, someone throws, like, a flash in the sight, example. Another, this thing isn't the same as the old map, but, like, someone can throw, like, a flash in the pit. Anyways, my whole point is, like, you're just playing really gimmicky, right? Like, really random, really chaotic, and just kind of rushing people over. Like, we used to win rounds where, like, when David, because David was a maniac. Like, this guy would just do shit I've never seen in my life. This guy would literally just come over mid, and he would just jump, and he'd run, and then he would just walk. And he would just, like, come up here, and he would just, like, kill this guy, and we just have a, like... So I'm just saying, like, get grimy and play within your talent. So if you have aim, use your aim. Play like you're a pug star. Do shit that you're going to get people that you have the ability to get. If you don't have that type of skill, like you don't have a player, like David that could walk up mid and just literally just, like, the guy was fast. He had the fastest reaction times I've ever seen in my life. Like, honestly, out of any player I've ever played with, I don't think I've ever seen someone faster. He would just come over here and just, like, one tap, kill these 2 guys, go. If you don't have that talent, then you want to have more, like, kind of gimmicky things that you probably want to go over before the game, like kind of what I'm talking about, like the Halls burst, the B burst, maybe you have a wrap strat. But my whole point is you want to have strats that are like, you don't necessarily want to be running these elaborate defaults where you're getting map control, succeeding map control, regaining map control. Like, that is kind of like, I feel like, gonna kind of put the nail in the coffin if you're not confident on the map, because generally the other people are gonna be better at countering it. But it's really hard. It's really hard to counter people that are playing really kind of like random. Like for example, if you just have a dude jumping up in a boiler and kind of coming over here and just peeking, you have a guy running up halls and just kind of like walking to the end and peeking. You have a guy running up mid peeking, and you have two guys taking banana at the same time, literally to top a car. Do you know how annoying that is for the other team? Like they're calling like Molly sandbags, nade corner, flash B, and then like this guy's like one jumping up boiler. They have to play 2-3. They can't stack in this situation, right? And while that's happening, this guy's coming over here, right? He's just dry peeking this shit. No one wrap. He comes over here, the lane guy. You guys just kind of walk out mid. This guy just prodding. Like, I've seen it so many times with, like, old Brazilian teams, like MLB and stuff. Fur just, like, walks over here. Just kind of gets here and sits here. They might even have their opper just kind of, like, holding in these areas. And, by the way, that's another thing you can do is you can have your opper go for really weird picks. Like, if you have a good opper and he just, like, walks up halls, like, you'll catch people off guard, man. Like, you really will. If you come in here really fast, you'll just catch people. So, there's just some, like, bad examples that I'm showing you. But my whole point is you want to take risks. You want to do things... you want to take gambles, you want to take bigger risks, and you want to play based on your strengths. So if you're a weaker aim team and you're thinking like, yo, Semphis, if we played a mid stack or we played aggressive pop flashing B, we're going to lose. That's fine. That's totally fine. I understand that. In those cases, you might, just play more like gambly, right? Where you're going to be like, okay, we'll play 2 pit, 1 hiding sight, and 1 opping wrap, like something baity, right? Like something where like the other team is just not going to expect a dude here, and a guy here or on Belk and an opper, over here with 1B, right? Like just out of random thing. And you could probably think of better, better stacks. Like obviously this spot's pretty strong if people are making like distractions for you. Like I actually really like this spot if people are baiting for you. Especially if it's smoke on halls. But, again, like I said, this video is just kind of telling you, like, if you're going to lose a game, then you don't want to just kind of go in there and just, like, kind of go through the motions and let it happen, is kind of what I'm saying. And obviously, you'll know your strength, too. Maybe you're, like, half good at Inferno. But, like, your T side is, like, too predictable. Maybe you're really good at doing banana control and hitting B, but when teams adapt to that and they start stacking towards B, you're really bad at hitting A. Okay, then you can still use your B strats, but just maybe get more gimmicky towards A sometimes, throw in some rushes, throw some things to catch them off. Just my opinions. Obviously, every map's going to be different, right? Like, Mirage is going to play a lot different than Inferno. For example, and Ancient's going to be even, like, more different than both of those by a large margin, in my opinion, at least on CT. So just some things to think about, because I do notice that a lot of teams have a poor map, and it's very difficult to be good at all the maps. Like, even if you have an auto veto, like, being proficient at every map is very tough. And with the way that the veto system works, like, if a team happens to be strong on your weakest map, it makes the B-Withers really hard, and it sucks, but, like, especially for lower tier teams that aren't practicing, 10 hours a day, that don't have coaches and analysts and a ton of help, these are just my opinions. So maybe this helped, maybe it didn't. If you do this and you lose, it's 100% not my fault. But if you win, I'll take all the credit for it. So thank you for watching. Peace.